Jessica Frost Ballas here with a video for lawnfawn. Today I'm creating an interactive pull-tab Valentine's Day card, so let's get started. First I stamped the open book from Den Sweet Den and the mice pair from Happy Couples with jet black ink. I colored them with Copic markers in shades of toner gray and teal for the book. Since my images are really small, I start with my darkest shade first and then blend out to the lightest. I'm using R02 and R00 for the ears and noses, T3, 1, and 0 for the mice, bodies, and book pages. And then for the book cover, I use BG49, 15, 13, and 11. Once I finish coloring, I die cut the two images with the coordinating dies. Next, I gather a rainbow of colored cardstock scraps to die cut the various books from the book collection die set. I'm using Fog for the book pages, and Ballet Slippers, Guava, Raspberry, Mermaid, Peacock, Moonstone, and Lilac for the book covers. I'm also using the Let It Shine Starry Skies Petite paper pack to create a mini slimline card, and I trim a panel down to 3.5 by 6 inches. I die cut several books and tassels from each color and retain the little circles, diamonds, and oval accents from the cutout pieces. Next, I take a strip of white cardstock that's about 1 inch wide and 5.5 inches long. I apply adhesive all over the strip and then adhere my books to the strip in rainbow order. I'll be hiding my interactive piece behind the books so I can't adhere them directly to my card panel. This strip just makes it easier to keep them all together. Once I adhere all the big pieces, I use liquid glue to add the covers of the sideways books and all the tiny accent pieces. I also tuck in a few of the bookmark tassels and adhere them to the books. Once I'm done, I trim off the excess white strip so only the books are visible. Then I adhere the book to my mice couple so that it looks like they're reading together. I'm using the Let's Toast Pull Tab add-on die set to create my interactive mechanism. I want my mice to pop up from behind the stack of books. So I die cut the T-shaped piece and the short strip from white cardstock and the oval-shaped pull from Guava Cardstock. First, I line up the top of my Starry Skies panel with the straight line die. The semicircle at the bottom will actually cut the opening for my pull tab, so the long straight line sits on top of the cardstock as a guide, but only the semicircle is on the cardstock. I line up the semicircle in the middle and temporarily tape it in place before running it through my die cutting machine. Off camera, I trimmed a panel of white cardstock to 3.5 by 6 inches to line up behind my Starry Skies panel. Next, I use my ruler to mark 3.5 centimeters from the edge of my panel. Then I line up the small straight line die from the pull tab set so that the top of the line covers the mark I made and is horizontally centered below the semicircle. Then I take my upside-down T-shaped piece and fold it along the score lines. There's a score line right along the edge of the long center strip, and I fold the sides in towards the middle. Then there's another score line right along the edge of the T-arm, and I fold along that score line in the opposite direction. I repeat that for the other side, and I'm left with something that looks a bit like a paper airplane fold. I fold the arms of the T up so it looks like a paper airplane and slide those through the slit in the Starry Skies panel so that they're on the front and the long T strip is on the back. When you unfold the arms, you can see how the pull tab mechanism will work. And now it's time to add my mice. I temporarily adhere them to the arms of the T while I check to make sure they're mostly hidden behind the stack of books. Once I'm happy with the placement, I add adhesive to the back of the mice and adhere them to the arms of the T. Now the arms can't be pulled back through the slit without folding the mice in half. With the mice in the lowest position, I trim off the excess white strip at the top. Then I fold the pink arrow tab and use liquid glue to adhere it to the end of the strip. This creates a nice guide to tell the recipient where to pull. To keep the pull tab moving smoothly, the small white strip folds to create a sleeve around the pull tab. I fold along the 2 score lines and then add adhesive to the center of the back of the sleeve. I adhere the sleeve to the back of the Starry Skies panel and fold the arms around the pull tab. Then I add a little adhesive to the smaller piece and fold the longer arm around to seal it together. This just keeps the pull tab straight up and down so that it doesn't lean to the left or right. Next, I take a piece of white cardstock cut to 7 by 6 inches. I score the longer side at 3.5 inches and then fold and crease to create my card base. To make the pull tab easier to access, I line up the same semicircle tab and die cut it from the top of my card base. However, this is optional. Then I add adhesive to the back of my Starry Skies panel, making sure to avoid the areas around the pull tab and adhere it to the card base. Next, I use a pencil to lightly mark the edges of the white strip on the Starry Skies panel. This gives me a guide for my foam adhesive. I use thin foam strips and apply them along the side of my mouse pair. I also add a couple strips in the middle but make sure to avoid the pull tab. This will make sure that my books cover the foam strips. I remove the adhesive backing and then adhere my stack of books on top. You can see the tops of the mice poking up, but you don't really see them until you pull the pink tab. I stamp and heat emboss a sentiment from Woodland Library onto black cardstock and trim it down to thin strips. I adhere the sentiment over the books and then add a few die-cut hearts. Off camera, I also add accents with a white gel pen to finish my card. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. Be sure to subscribe to the lawnfawn channel for even more crafty inspiration. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, have an amazing day and happy crafting. Bye!